Cyril Ramaphosa inaugurated as South African president. Africans around the world celebrate Africa Day. And Malawi election result updates suspended due to disputes. Hello and welcome to Africa Live. As always, great to have you with us. I'm Richard Nta live in Nairobi. And for those of you joining us across the continent and around the globe, we thank you for joining us. Let's take a look at other stories making headlines this hour. Uganda on high alert after 2 suspected Ebola cases. Nigeria urged to do more to tackle high rates of suicide among young people. Let's begin in South Africa, where Cyril Ramaphosa has officially been sworn in as the President of the Republic of South Africa. A number of African heads of state attended the event. Thousands of South Africans filled up the Loftus Versfeld Stadium in the capital, Pretoria, to witness the inauguration. CGTN's Yolisa Njamela has more.
And the crowds signaled their approval with deafening cheers. A number of presidents from the African continent graced this occasion, here to celebrate with South Africa. Some countries like China, Cuba, and the United States sent top officials to represent their countries.
Do justice to all
and devote myself
to
the well-being of the Republic and all of its people.
In his first address, President Ramaphosa made ambitious promises. Amongst those, a declaration to end poverty in South Africa within a generation.
There shall no longer be any person in this land who is unable to meet their basic needs.
The president also made an undertaking to solve some of the most pressing problems facing the country, including joblessness. Ramaphosa also conceded that the hopes of South Africans have been betrayed in the past as leaders lost sight of their mandates.
In recent times, our people have watched as some of those in whom they had invested their trust have surrendered to the temptation of power and riches. They have seen some of the very institutions of our democracy eroded and resources squandered. The challenges that our country faces are huge and they are real. Say that they are going to be solved.
Reflecting on Africa Day, Ramaphosa highlighted the importance of friendship, solidarity, and cooperation.
Today, we declare that our progress as South Africa in all our endeavors depends on and cannot be separated from the onward march of our beloved continent, Africa.
He also pledged that he will serve and work with all to build a country that all South Africans want and deserve.
Now that the official ceremony is done and dusted, it's down to business as President Cyril Ramaphosa is expected to appoint his cabinet. Yolisa Njamela for CGTN in Pretoria, South Africa.
The Malawi Electoral Commission says it will not announce presidential results because of the injunction sought by the Malawi Congress announced. A count of votes tallied in 3/4 of the country's polling stations shows incumbent President Peter Mutharika leading with 40.9%. His closest challenger, Lazarus Chakwera of the Malawi Congress Party, has so far garnered 35.44% of the vote. Malawi's Electoral Commission has so far received 147 election-related complaints. Well, today marks the International Africa Day. It's an annual commemoration of the foundation of the Organization of African Unity back in May 1963, which later evolved into the African Union. The day is celebrated in various countries on the African continent and across the globe. It's a symbol of Africa's independence, freedom, and liberation from colonial imperialists. The theme of this year's celebration is finding durable solutions to displacement in Africa. For many Africans, it's a time to reflect over challenges and gains made in the continent over the past years. Burkina Faso's Minister of Culture has been speaking about the vision of his nation on Africa Day. Let's take a look.
Nous, en tant que ministre,
identity in Burkina Faso. Today, Burkina Faso nationals are recognized in all airports of the world by wearing their woven national dress called the Faso d'Anfani. When you go to major international congresses, everyone is wearing a suit. Only the Burkinabe are sported in the Faso d'Anfani. We have components in our heritage that are indications of our creative genius. We also have works that were made around the 10th, 11th and the 12th century, some of which are listed as part of the World Heritage.
As the African continent commemorates Africa Day, Ugandan lawmakers are in the process of amending current anti-trafficking laws. Lawmakers are concerned that traffickers are exploiting the gaps in the current law to promote human trafficking. Well, CGTN's Hilary Ayasiga reports. So let's take a look.
Dreams shattered. Nora Nakalema, a mother of two, cannot walk on her own. Her journey to Jordan.
He told me, Nora, today you're going to die. I got scared because I did not know how he was going to kill me. I was standing on the balcony, so he lifted me and threw me over the balcony of the second floor. I fell down in a sitting position and injured my back.
Unlike Nora, who went through a licensed export labor company, Joyce was trafficked to Oman by unscrupulous agents. Joyce says her employer forced her to work as a slave. She's now nursing trauma from torture.
My employer told me to clean the fridge. She had tampered with the power supply. I was electrocuted. She came out to check if I was dead.
Joyce was auctioned 3 times on Oman's human trafficking market to complete her 2-year contract. According to Uganda police, 50 girls are trafficked abroad every day. Uganda has 148 companies that legally help people find employment overseas, don't return home at all. Most of these companies do not follow up on the people they have recruited for jobs abroad. They say their contracts end at finding them jobs, which leaves them at the mercy of their employers. Lawmakers are in the process of amending the current law to address the gap.
We have the situation of trafficking, where we would like to have the whole cartel involved brought to book. Because the vessels, we have seen people who have been, the situation, circumstances under which people have been trafficked. So those who think they are only transporters and yet their facilities are being used either for holding these people before they are trafficked or while they have been trafficked before they are distributed to the various people who purport them, who pretend to be providing the employment opportunities. So in Persons Act.
To supplement government efforts, civil society activists have started a campaign to stop traffickers. They believe creating awareness in communities will save more people from being caught up in slavery and human trafficking. Hilary Ayasiga, CGTN, Kampala.
Staying in Uganda, the country remains on high alert following the death of 2 people who presented signs and symptoms similar to those of Ebola in the western district of Kagadi. Kagadi district borders the DR Congo, where Ebola has claimed hundreds of lives since the outbreak 10 months ago. The United Nations says the number of new cases has gone up in recent weeks. CGTN's Michael Baleke has that report.
Uganda's Minister of Health says its teams have conducted dignified burials for the 2 deceased. The Health Ministry says the cases are being treated as mere suspects as they await results from the government laboratory.
The analysis at Uganda Virus Research Institute in Entebbe, and we await the results. But for now, it is suspected viral hemorrhagic fever.
This is the second scare the district is having in a space of 2 weeks. In the neighboring DR Congo, the Ebola epidemic has claimed more than 1,200 lives and the risk of spread to other provinces as well as neighboring countries like Uganda remains very high. Since November 2018, Uganda has been vaccinating healthcare and frontline workers in high-risk districts bordering the DR Congo.
Uganda has been in the preparedness mode to ensure that we do not have the Ebola virus imported into our borders. And as such, we have had a number of surveillance and vigilance systems. For instance, we have screening facilities at all our points of entry.
The United Nations claims the ongoing insecurity and community mistrust in the eastern DR Congo is hindering efforts by the UN World Health Organization and government health teams to detect sick people and ensure access to treatment and vaccination. This is responsible for the recent surge in new Ebola cases. Michael Balekes
coming your way, including Nigeria urged to do more to tackle high rates of suicide among young people. And later, students in Kenyan universities showcase their Mandarin prowess.
How will your world change today? What happens here? What happens there? Or what you make happen for yourself? If it matters to you, it matters to us too. Your stories are the stories that need to be told. Africa Live. Find your voice.
Welcome back. Nigeria is currently grappling with an increase in the number of young adults committing suicide. So far in May, at least 6 cases of suicide have been reported across the West African country. CGTN Samson Omale reports.
Johnson Onello is used to working with his hands. The 27-year-old university student works part-time as an electrician to pay for his tuition. But it's been a struggle to get to this place. 2 years ago, he attempted suicide by drinking an insecticide poison. After 4 hours of convulsing, neighbors came to his rescue, calling for medical help.
Basically, from the beginning, things were going normal for me. But at a certain time, I discovered this hard challenge that I couldn't bear it. Every day, it kept me thinking. At that point, what you will just be hearing within your mind is just, go ahead and do this. After all, what do you have to gain in this world?
At the time, Johnson was in financial crisis, had lost his best friend to a myth that there are 9.5 suicides per 100,000 people in Nigeria. Last year, the country's health ministry said mental disorders affect 20 to 30% of the population.
The issues of mental illnesses are such that people start behaving abnormally and all that kind of thing. So, and people attribute it to spiritual issues. So they go round and round to pastors, to DBS and all that kind of things, and rarely get help.
Notes left behind by suicide victims indicate that poor grades, substance abuse, financial problems and depression are the major causes of suicide in Nigeria.
Suicide, like I said, has been on for a very long time. The increasing numbers mainly because economic downturn, more pressure, loss of parental control, and then reduce or stop, hopefully someday. We need to tackle these things at different points.
Stigmatization of those with mental health issues means those suffering from depression may face discrimination and rejection by family and society.
To stem the growing number of suicide cases, experts are calling for a national suicide prevention strategy, signing of the Nigerian Mental Health Bill into law, training of more psychiatrists, and addressing the underlying factors that are currently fueling the upsurge.
Over the last year, there have been regular reports of students and lecturers killing themselves. Johnson is advocating for a communal approach in stemming the tide of suicide after his failed attempt.
This life is something that you need people around you. You need counseling around you all the time. Most people take their life because of loneliness, nobody to talk to.
Johnson studies rehabilitation science at the university. Later, he plans to assist those struggling with mental health issues, hoping his experience as a suicide survivor will help others stay alive. Samson Omale, CGTN, Jos, Nigeria.
The competition under the theme One World, One Family demonstrated the learning achievements of 16 students studying Chinese language in 4 different Kenyan universities. CGTN's Daniel Arap Moy has more on this report.
The popularity of Chinese language and culture has continued to grow in Africa following the increasing realization of the important role China continues to play in the continent. Public institutions like the University of Nairobi, which is teaching Chinese language and culture, are growing in number across Africa as part of efforts to improve the continent's cultural influence. The display by these Kenyan students is a clear example on how Chinese language and culture is helping to connect hearts of people from different countries and cultures for a better world.
Once young people learn how to communicate with Chinese, they get to know knowledge about Chinese and culture. I think they will open up their mind better to understand the culture and how the people do what they're doing.
Changes will help speed up cooperation and construction of a better world for all.
In recent years, the China-Kenya ties have seen a rapid and sound development. And there is a clear picture in the future that the cooperation and friendship between China and Kenya will keep moving forward.
Evanson Muigai, a Chinese language student from the University of Nairobi, emerged overall winner after topping the 18th Chinese Bridge, an annual Chinese proficiency competition preliminary rounds of Kenya division.
Actually, I never thought I would get this prize, so I'm overwhelmed.
The competition was based on language skills, presentations about Chinese culture and development, as well as traditional music performance. Kenya presented certificates and trophies to the most eloquent student, the best talented, and above all, the most charming contestant. Daniel Arap Moy, CGTN, University of Nairobi, Kenya.
And to South Africa now, where one gay man is living his dreams as a drag queen. Drag is a slang that is used to describe men who dress as women. For Odidi Mfanyana, performing what he calls Odi Diva, the African Queen, has made him one of the top attractions in Cape Town. Let's take a look.
Odidi Mfanyana is gay, and he is living it and loving it. Over the years, Mfanyana has earned the title of Queen of the Drag. Whenever he dresses up and takes the stage, he leaves his audience begging for more.
I'm talking about light, less and less, without also having to compromise the illusion of the shape, the feminine shape.
His stage name is Odida the African Queen. He performs a ring.
Being in drag is a liberating situation as well as it's provocative, as well as it's subversive. So you live on the edge of, how to put it, of creativity, of danger, of taboo, really.
His lively shows ensures an enduring love from his audience and followers.
It gives me a certain type of feeling, you know, that gives me hope when it comes to the kind of talent that we have as queer people, as trans folks, as gender non-binary people. It gives me hope that people may start looking at us differently.
So for me, it's really exciting to know that, oh, he's on the lineup, or oh, you know, but yeah, that's why. And for the fact that he's in Kailicha, in a place like this, it's I don't know how to explain it, but it's very
legal in South Africa. But the stigma directed at the members of the LGBT is still high even here.
When people don't know how to refer to a drag queen, like, should I call you a guy, should I call you he or she? It's like, dude, I'm wearing freaking heels, I'm tucked, I've cinched my waist. I've got so much makeup on. Obviously, what is looking at you is she.
Susan Mongeli, CGTN.
We've got your sports news coming up after the break. Here's a sneak peek at the headline.
Africa, where champions are made, records are broken, legends are born. We're there for every goal on CGTN.
Africa Live. Find your voice.
Welcome back. Let's talk a bit of football. Uganda has selected a side of mostly uncapped players for the Southern Africa Regional Football Tournament, COSAFA Challenge Cup, that is, which started on Saturday in Durban. South Africa, the AFCON-bound East African Giants, are
calm, collected and confident. 26-year-old John Revita had such a phenomenal season in the Uganda Premier League that a national team call-up was guaranteed.
Being on a national team, everyone who plays in the league, that's one of the dreams he wants to achieve.
Revita will be part of the Uganda Crane squad for the upcoming COSAFA Championship. Uganda will be a guest team at the Southern African Soccer Tournament.
But we want to win that trophy first of all. So our expectation is to go there, play a good game.
It will also be a fast national team tournament for head coach Abdallah Mowiru.
I dedicated my time and effort to learning this game. So I'm going to use this championship, I'm going to use the experience that I'll face there as lessons for me to step up my coaching career. And I'm very eager.
Uganda has been exempted from the group stages, and the competition means Uganda could face Zambia, Zimbabwe or even South Africa in the later stages. Head coach Abdallah Mowiru is confident his side won't be pushovers. Leon Sanyange, CGTN, Kampala, Uganda.
And to cricket news now, let's talk about South Africa's comfortable 87-run victory against Sri Lanka in an ICC men's cricket warm-up game in Cardiff on Saturday. Runs from Andile Pulakwayo and Dwayne Pretorius and Chris Morris, and wickets from Pulakwayo and Pretorius means all three men should be in the mix for a spot in the starting 11 ahead of their opening game against host nation England on Thursday. The Proteas have never won the World Cup and will be hoping to beat better their best ever record of reaching the semifinals in 1992.